U-GeekTV.
Welcome back to the Unapologetic Opinion right here on U-GeekTV. I am your host, Jarius, the Unapologetic Geek. I am joined yet again by my esteemed colleagues, Hoodie C and Quad G. And today, got two huge reviews, one of which I've been waiting on and very excited to get to, and that one will be Paradise. But primarily, we're going to be talking about Invincible Season 3, Episodes 7 and 8, and how insane those episodes were. And we might get into the news, just depending on how everything goes with the episode. But for sure, we'll be talking about Invincible Season 3 and Paradise. And both of those are spoiler reviews. And I'm actually we'll render our grades to both TV shows as well. So without further ado, so episode 7 of Invincible basically confirmed all of Cecil's fears. Like when Cecil has an issue with Mark and with the Viltrumites as a whole, and an impending Viltrumite invasion, it's easy to say, "Oh man, that shit ain't gonna happen." Well, episode 7 of season 3 gave us a look at what that shit looks like, and I can just tell you right now, for the most part, these are still marks that aren't like fully grown or aged Viltrumites, and they were able to do that to Earth within a matter of 3 days. Yeah, right. Cecil is absolutely right for how he feels about Viltrumites. I will never ever again doubt this man's intentions. The points that he has against them, he is right. When I tell you they dog walk Earth as a whole, as an entity, Earth got dog walk. They were dog walking heroes. They were dog walking villains. They ain't give a fuck. Like, it's one thing and then Mark is the lone good Mark, which I'm under the impression that Angstrom Levy just went and got all the worst marks. Like, this motherfucker can't be a villain everywhere but one place, right? That's just my assumption. With that being said, Greg, what did you think about the Invincible War, which was actually, I think it delivered on the hype for the most part. It was a couple things. It was a couple things that I wish they would have kind of fleshed out, but I believe it delivered on the hype. But go ahead.
Man, that whole scene, like the whole episode itself, but just seeing them come in like the way they did, and just like you said, with a matter of 3 days, wreaking havoc. Like if fuck around and find out was a scene, this episode was it. Like hands down, bro. Like I was just impressed at the fact, like, so as you see the screenshot you have, I'm more impressed at like the different versions of him that we saw in an evil light. Like I think that really got me a lot. Like I was like, oh, this is the evil side of him. And I'm like, man, I think I like this. I don't know if I'm turning into a villain, but I like this. For sure, like to see Oliver get his shit like smacked. Like hands down. But this, man, what they did in 3 days, and then like with Adam Eve, right, that was brutal. It was brutal, bro. Like that whole episode, like they were just going in with no remorse. It was just like they didn't even have to have a reason for why they wanted to do it. They were literally having fun. This was a warm up, an appetizer, if you may, hors d'oeuvres to them.
And what's funny is they were nice, promised. They were all promised like assistance with, I guess, the conquest of their own dimensions, which that in itself tells me not all of them are the strongest heroes on their planet. They're just strong enough to take over and destroy most of Earth in a day, which again is impressive. But the variations which you brought up, they were very interesting to see too. The one pictured here with the Omni-Man suit on, or they call him
Mhm.
Omni-Mark online.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of swagger to him. Like,
Yeah.
I really noticed that he had some swagger to him when he pulled up. And who is it? And then they had the one in the black and yellow, which, with the cape. They call him Sinister Mark online. Mo Mark, which is the one with the mohawk, or Mohawk Mark. He had hands, but he really wasn't on that. And that's the first mark that our Mark went against. So that fight was solid. But then what I liked was how they took the time and showed around the globe heroes having to deal with Viltrumites. Like,
Mhm.
different hero teams having to deal with Viltrumites. So in terms of the grand scale and the devastation and how it was handled on this episode, Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I loved every minute of it. Again, we got to see what happened when shit hit the fan and nobody's there to answer the call. Cecil knew he had no other option than to revert back to Mark, right? Because he's the
Right.
only person who could deal with this shit. Yeah, like you said, black and yellow Mark was probably my second favorite. When he pulled up, he was like, "I killed my dad. Like, y'all think y'all can fuck with me?" That
Yeah,
shit,
he
that
was
shit
on
was
some bullshit.
cold, man. And then, like Greg said, man, when Invincible came and snapped her leg, bro, by touching her, I was like, yeah, that nigga OP, man. I
So
loved it,
the
bro.
thing about Omnimark during the fight, or before the fight even gets started, because Invincible is kicking that other Mark's ass, the one with the mask.
Right.
He's kicking his ass, and Omnimark pulls up, and then they commence fighting along with Adam Eve. And Omnimark says, "What are you gonna do? You can't fight us and save her." Like, it was so cold how he said this shit. He just like, this is nothing. Like, it's only one of you. There are hundreds of us. What do you have? What can you really do in this situation? And that was a great, again, it calls back to what the theme of this entire season has been. At what point do you just start killing these motherfuckers?
Mm-hmm.
Mark was once again facing, you find out later in the episode, or it's confirmed that he was holding back in this fight.
Right.
Trying to preserve lives that really don't give a fuck. Just it don't make no sense. This is not Gotham City. You can't be Batman and conveniently get away with keeping the Joker alive. You know what I'm saying? You can't be, I mean, hell, even Superman when he fought Doomsday. Superman, that's one of my favorite comics. I'm gonna go down a little bit of rabbit hole. I'm not gonna take too much time. What was cool about Superman is the same thing they kind of did in this episode, but they kind of did it with Rick Explode. So at the beginning of the death of Superman, it starts off with Doomsday escaping. Doomsday doesn't say a word of dialogue. He just is punching this metal door and he finally gets out. Then he punches and kills a deer. He crushes a bird in his hand. He punches a tree and he just keeps escalating. It's a good day for Superman so far. He kisses his wife. He goes on about his business. And the first people that Doomsday runs into, I believe, are the Teen Titans. He dismantles them, then he starts to do it to the Justice League. This episode kind of followed that same beat. It just kept escalating until Mark was called in to handle it. Long story short, Superman is fighting Doomsday. And when he tackles Doomsday into a sewer, Doomsday gets up and punches the first person he sees, which is like a supervillain who was willing. He was like, "Hey man, we can jump on Superman together." Doomsday punched that motherfucker and killed him. When Superman saw that shit, he was like, "This motherfucker is mindless." He told Lois, "I gotta kill him." It's the only thing. Is the long story short is, if Superman within a day of fighting somebody can come to that conclusion, I don't know why it took a season for Mark to come to that conclusion. You got to start killing these motherfuckers, man. But we'll get there. Moving on, the Invincibles end up coming back to on day 3 at the behest of Angstrom Levy. And he comes out and they're over Mark's mother's house, which again, Angstrom Levy is getting on this personal bullshit again.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying his plan, Sinister Mark, which is the one, the yellow and black one, comes out and he say, "Hey man, we done with this shit. All right, we did what it is you want us to do. You can't handle it from this point. I mean, why the fuck are we still listening to you?" They get ready to try and kill him. He used these little metal spears or cameras or whatever. And he pushes them all in their own dimension. And Mark challenges him again. And to go along with what we were already talking about is Mark hesitates. Oliver is telling him, Mark, this is the second time he done came after us. Kill this motherfucker right now. And he hesitates and Angstrom escapes again. Now, Mark does grab his arm, but he cuts it off. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask both of y'all this, and I'm going to start with Greg. On a scale of 1 to 10, how pissed off were you at Mark at that moment?
10. 10.
Thank you.
10.
Thank you. Chris, yourself?
My number can't be defined, man. I was that pissed off, bro.
He's so weak, man. Like he just
go ahead, Greg. You can go ahead.
He just man, he's so foo-foo minded. I don't it's like you got to destroy the whole world for this man to say, you know what? I think I've had enough. Bro, like you have the ability to basically dismantle this man and end your problem. It's like you walking into problems and you asking for more problems. You just want a reason to be upset at this point. He just needs to cry. He just wants to cry.
You want a reason to be heartbroken.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Angstrom. Like he's proven what he is on already. He's already given you the game as to why are you okay with killing him the first time? Why not go ahead and beat the shit out of him? And I know they wanted to draw on how traumatic that was for Mark, but at the same time, Angstrom is further justifying why you did this shit in the first place. And you hesitate and you let him go again. Mark does have a great moment. I'm going to kick it back to you, Chris. He does have a great moment fighting Angstrom when Angstrom is shooting all those metal spears at him. And he's trying to push him into their portal. And Mark just stands his ground and he stands up and starts to push back. I thought that was a great, badass look for Mark. And he's a character that doesn't have a whole lot of badass moments. He does get one more at the end of this episode and we'll bring it up. But yeah, you can go ahead and elaborate on your feelings on the Angstrom and Mark conflict, Chris.
Yeah, man, it pisses me off so bad, bro. But at the same time, I think it's a combination of, and you know, I appreciate the writing this way, right? I think he is struggling so hard with one, trying to not become his dad, and then two, he doesn't want the world to see him as they see his father. I think that's the reason why he, even with all the bullshit and shenanigans going on, he still hesitates to quote unquote pull the trigger. I think that's why. Even though, like you said, Angstrom Levy's track record is beyond saving at this point. Like
he gotta go.
I'd kill a motherfucker if I was a hero, bro. I'd be the worst hero of all time. I ain't got time for that, bro.
And this man brought this shit to your mama house again.
The front door, bro.
To the crib.
And his plan was to have the 8, really only 8 remaining Invincibles were there. It's reasonable to say that he planned for more Invincibles to show up at your mama's house.
Facts.
And you gonna let this? Nah, bro. Nah. Taking a step back, I would like to talk about the moment. There are 2 standout moments. That one Mark who beat the hell out of the Guardians of the Globe, he was a problem. He was a problem.
He scared me.
And Mark, who didn't want Darkwing on the team, Darkwing ended up being the one that saved the remaining members of the Guardians of the Globe. So I thought, in a way, they would just find Cecil's decision making there. To me,
right?
And that Mark honestly may have suffered the worst fate because if you guys remember, it's like creatures and shit in that dark void that Darkwing is in. And I look back at the introduction of the character in season 2, and that was some creepy shit. It was so creepy he didn't want to be there. So for him to make that sacrifice, he may have gotten out. But for the time being, we can only assume that he's still in there and he kept that mark in that dark place, and that mark is probably dead. But the other one is, and I don't even know what the name of the new Guardians of the Globe or their spinoff team is. I can't remember right now. But that was such a difficult scene, seeing Rexplode and Robot and that team going against that other mark. And first of all, that's a badass sacrifice Rexplode did.
Yeah, it was.
I thought that was really cool. That he just used his bones and basically made a bomb and killed that mark. But and it was, Bulletproof, him telling Bulletproof to get his friends out of there. I like that moment too. Rexplode has one of the best character development arcs in the entire series. How hard did that sacrifice hit you, Chris?
It was tough, man. Like you said, he was turning the corner. He even had self-reflection and, not even with the suit on, just regular Rex walking around like, hey, that's the old Rex.
He was
The
ready
old
to
Rex
settle
would've
down,
said,
man.
yeah. The old Rex would have said some dickhead shit. This is the new Rex. I'm a changed guy. Him and Ray was about to, really settle down, get together and stuff. It was tough to see, man. You glad he got his chance at redemption, but I wanted to see how much further it was gonna go.
Yeah, and Greg, what were your thoughts in that moment, man? I think you mentioned it was kind of tough, man.
Man, it was kind of tough to watch. You know what it put me in the mindset of?
What's that?
The world's greatest Saiyan sacrificing himself, for his family. Vegeta. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I just had to take a step back, and I was like, you know what, man, that near and dear to me, to my heart. Because Vegeta did the same thing, and I feel like him and Rex were on the same page. But I thought about it when it happened. I thought, well, he's finna just take Rex out. But Rex was, in his mind, it was just kind of like, this has to be done. I'd rather it just be me than them. And when he said, you don't have anything to, blow up, and then you start seeing him glow, I was like, oh,
that shit was cold,
bro.
The way they built up to it was cold.
Yeah,
I really liked it. So also interesting, the mark that's at the top of the screen with the black mask, he didn't want to jeopardize or put his mother in danger. That mark has lost his mom. Like, it was interesting getting a little bit of backstory through dialogue from the different marks, is what they've gone through.
Right.
In the end, Angstrom sends all these marks off to that like void dimension where we thought he died in. And also Angstrom, the technicians characters were cool. They're really cool. Wonder where we're going with that. And it was interesting that they were working for Angstrom, and then they had just repaired his body, and then he comes back and they agree to repair his arm, but they're like, nah, we in charge now because you clearly don't know what clearly don't know. So we need your help now because we've done what you wanted us to do. You've gotten your ass kicked twice. Just don't even worry about it no more. But it's interesting to see where we're gonna go with that.
I just want to say Angstrom has got to be like, he's the only person I've seen in this series that has gone through so much pain. This man that got blown up, his head swell up, he done had his face bashed in, his arm taken off. Bro is going through it. He has a right to be angry.
Well, here's the thing. No,
Donald's had it worse than him.
Angstrom got a right to be angry at his mark.
Right. Yeah,
he has no right to be angry at our Invincible. He has a right to be angry at the mark. Here's the other part. He's working with other marks that fall in line with the mark that he actually got beef with. To be honest, Angstrom kind of stupid to me. He kind of stupid because in the same vein, he could find a bunch of good marks you know what? I just arrived at what he was doing. It's the old trope of hating something enough that you become it. The reason why he got bad marks is one, he wanted to show the rest of the planet what he experienced, even though his mark is clearly good. However, by the end of this season, our mark kind of does resemble his. We're gonna get into it. You know what, Angstrom? I might owe you an apology. I just had to really think through it just then. But we get to, and it is a lot. By the way, shout out to Billie Eilish for making one of the saddest songs ever that they decided to use here perfectly.
Oh, you can't listen to her without a dry.
Right. But yeah, so we get to the end of this episode. The world is starting to reveal. We get that glimpse a little bit earlier where, you know, we saw the devastation and heroes just really trying to put their lives back together. And Invincible, I believe Mark is asked at this point by Cecil to rebuild the Guardians of the Globe, and Invincible declines. I believe that happened in episode 7. I'm almost certain it did. And they go and they're rebuilding. And then Power Plate's dumbass come out, and instead of trying to fight Mark, and honestly, going along with the actual leaving point, you did just see what a bad Mark could do.
Right.
Mark convinces Oliver that he not only is Mark not going to kill him, but Oliver can't do it neither. They hold him down. He shorts out again. They put his ass back in jail. And so they're rebuilding everything. Adam Eve is, you know, recovering from her injuries. Her parents are still dickheads. And they're rebuilding the city. And the shadow comes over Mark. It is Conquest, who just about everybody online expected to show up during this season. And Conquest's speech was awesome. Just a couple lines. He says, look, you had time. We've been patient with you. The Viltrumite Empire gave you an assignment. He said, and here I stand, and this planet is still unready to take in the Viltrumite Empire. And Mark is like, this is a bad time. So Conquest is like, oh man, see, you trying to talk to me and I'm not doing none of this shit. And Mark is like, I've been through a bunch of shit in these past couple days. And I love nothing more than to hit something as hard as I can. Boy, when I tell you I got hyped when he said that shit, I said, oh, my boy ready to fight. My boy acting like a Saiyan in this motherfucker. Let's go. That closing scene had me so crunk. I know I watched this shit on YouTube about 4 or 5 times. I had to go and find that clip, man. And of course, Prime did what they were supposed to do and put the clip out for us to consume.
Facts.
We get to the next episode. We get to the main event of this season.
And boy, was it a main event.
I went ahead. The main event of this season, the fight of all fights when it comes to Invincible. And it had a tough act to follow as we saw Battle Beast and Alan the Alien and Nolan go against 2 Viltrumites. Prior to that, we had Omni-Man versus Invincible. Like it was a lot that this fight had to live up to. God damn it lived up to.
Facts.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's voice work as Conquest was top tier. Hands down. He hit every beat that you needed to hit. The thing about Conquest is, like, the fight jumped off and Conquest was taking some of his best shots. When everything was Conquest's turn, it was like Mark got hit by a 500-ton truck every time. I appreciated how hard Conquest was hitting that man.
Facts.
It was diabolical. What were your thoughts just in the opening moments of this fight, Chris, when Conquest really got to let loose on Earth?
Man, like the first lick, bro, when he broke Mark's goggles, I was like, it's up, bro.
It usually takes some time to break them goggles. It was over with the first lick.
First punch, bro. Like, and I just appreciated how he was toying with him because obviously the other planets he's conquered have been far less superior beings on these planets, and he's just wiped them out without any fun. And for a warrior as old as he is, like the saying shit, this is what they live and breathe for, bro. So I'm about to have some fun, dog. And he did that.
That's exactly what he did. It was party time, man. It was time, like it was time to really get to it. And then, like, what I appreciate how much of the dialogue he had, because we haven't seen this character up until this point, so they have to do what they need to get you to care about him. And honestly, the writers did a great job of doing that. Conquest was tearing the city up using that man. The part where they're in space and he makes the heart with his blood.
That shit was cool.
And blows it just.
God. When I saw this man, I said, "This boy throwed off. He done. He cooked his brain. His brain, it ain't nothing but bloodlust, man." Which is another great name for him if they didn't want to go with Conquest. But I love how big this fight felt. Like, we got the fight with Nolan and Invincible, and that felt big, but this fight felt big. And it was time to cut loose and really show the world. Because first you got the glimpse of what a full-scale Viltrumite takeover looks like. Well, now you get a glimpse of how it look when they older and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it again. I'm going to kick it to you, Greg. Cecil is right.
Yeah. Man, very much so, because Conquest was nothing to play with, bro. Like, when he came in, as strong as he is, I kind of figured it was going to be this type of fight after I saw how he did with his own dad. Well, you know, now he made him his new daddy because, man, bro, he came in with the vengeance. Like, he literally woke up and was like, you know what? I'm going to kill Mark today. That's what I'm going to do. Let me go pour this Folgers, put on my best suit, and I'm going to go kill this man. He beat that dude. When I say they were moving mountains, like they were shifting that planet, it looked like the power he was putting into Mark, it seemed like they were going to turn that world upside down, literally. Like, I felt bad for Mark, but then at the same time, I was like, you know what? He need this. It took his girlfriend. It took his girlfriend, not that Angstrom pulled up at your mama front door. It took your girlfriend being in the hospital for you to say, you know what, it's time to amp up. Nah, he needed that whooping. He needed that.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna even continue with that with the girlfriend point. We're gonna get there in just a second.
Nah, he needed
his girlfriend was injured, and again, you're right. They pulled up to his mama house and his girlfriend being injured. That's when he decided to cut loose. Here's the thing: you should have did that to Angstrom. Because Conquest ain't the one. Conquest ain't the one, and he never been the one. Let me tell you, Conquest hit that boy so hard the animation style changed.
You saw that too?
Hell yeah, the whole animation style changed in the show. He hit that boy so hard, man. I said, what the hell? Crazy. I said, oh shit, they doing it like an anime. So, by the way, without a shadow of a doubt, this episode kind of confirms that Robert Kirkman is definitely a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Mm-hmm.
He made the original comics, a lot of those beats kind of are shared between Invincible and Dragon Ball Z. Facts. He's one of the showrunners here. You know what this reminded me of? The Broly fight in Super Broly. And remember, they started changing the it was a different animation style during the whole fight with Gogeta. They just kept changing the animation as the conflict amped up. I think that is so. You haven't seen it?
I've seen it, but now not thinking about it, I gotta go back and watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch it. I think the animation style changed 4 times before that fight is over with.
That's wild,
bruh. I think that's one of the coolest tricks, like visual tricks, and the way they just eased it in. Pause. The way it just happens it kind of catches you off guard. And then as I'm watching, I was like, okay, that's some slick shit. Yeah, they definitely some Broly fans all here.
Facts.
That damn fight, when he knocked Mark through that goddamn building. No, it wasn't just one building. I'm sorry, I undersold it. Mark went across the whole skyline.
They had to be.
He just kept going. He had to be. He just kept going. The boy just kept falling. I said, God damn it, boy, get up. Get up, please.
Come on, Craig.
Then Oliver ass talking to his mama. His mama dead ass wrong for letting him go out that door. He dead ass wrong. Talking about, okay, do what you can.
Don't let them catch you.
Oliver said that corny ass shit talking about his butt kicking time or whatever he said. That I ain't never gonna forget in my life. I Conquest slapped that boy.
I don't even think that was his full power. He was just putting it out there just to make a statement.
He slapped that boy, man, and like the animators made sure you knew how much this shit hurt. Oliver was looking at him like, God. That shit was like that, bro. I think Oliver started crying, bro. That man hit Oliver so damn hard, and then they slow it down so you see how Conquest was looking at him like, get your ass out of here now. Mark got the man off of him, and Mark was like, Oliver, please go home. He still, before Mark could even really get it out, Conquest was back up again. Beating ass on their ass quick. So just to get a little bit more ahead, Conquest decides he wants to end the fight. But he wants to target Oliver first because in his head, he like, I think Mark got a little bit more in him. Let's see what happens when I kill his brother.
Some more Dragon Ball Z shit.
The meme, and he definitely reminded me of Cell in this whole sequence.
I said it earlier to the bros, man.
I was like, oh, this is Cell and Gohan. Again,
facts.
Again, Robert Kirkman is definitely a fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Facts.
Easily. He starts stretching this boy out and talking him through how his body is coming apart as he's killing. This boy is sadistic, man.
That shit was brutal.
He is sadistic. That mean when they say Oliver at the beginning of the episode and Oliver at the end is so damn funny. Then like he go from exactly.
Hey yo,
that damn mean so out of pocket. That damn mean so funny to me, man. So we get to the point where Mark is starting to fight, and he's kind of making a dent on Conquest again. Like Conquest is letting him hit him for the most part. Conquest is like, nah, man, you hadn't seen enough yet. And he takes the bus scene from the season 1 finale to another level by taking Mark and flying him across, I think, to a different state or to an island.
Yep, to that beach.
And he used Mark as a battering ram and was killing men, women, children, and a dog. And killing dogs on screen, having people to kill dogs on screen, they trying to trick you. They really want you to hate this motherfucker.
That's some cold shit, man.
That's some cold-blooded shit. When I tell you, man, Conquest giving this man one of the greatest ass whoopings I ever seen at this point. Mark is beaten, battered, and bruised. Is this the point where he breaks Mark's leg also? Or is that when Adam Eve pulls back up?
I think
that's when she pulled up.
Yeah.
All right. Right, and I'm going to kick it to you because now we get to bring Cecil back up again. So, Greg, I'm kicking it to you next. Cecil has the one moment in this episode that made me laugh out loud. He went to his scientist, and of course, Cecil wants to use the marks as Rihanna men, which is a genius idea. And we're going to get Rihanna marks at some point to get up and go after Conquest. He asked the scientist, when is he going to be ready? This man said, man, it's going to take some weeks.
Yeah.
After giving him this long speech. And Cecil said, what the fuck are you talking about right now? He said, I'm looking at the strongest Viltrumite I've ever seen have his way with who I know is the strongest hero left on earth. You need to get these motherfuckers up and out there to fight this man right now. And the scientist is like, well, I guess I'm working over now. I guess we doing some. Like he Caesar couldn't believe this man was still trying. He said, "Do you see what's going on out here right now, Greg? What do you think just of everything that's happening so far? Is Caesar's frustration again? Another confirmation that he's right.
Caesar's frustration is real fear. This man felt it was over. As soon as they told him that it was nothing, he ain't heard nothing else but 3 weeks. He didn't want to hear no monologue. He heard 3 weeks, and his mind said, "I'm gonna die. I'm going to die.
This is it.
This is it. Like we're dead. Like there's nothing else. Like y'all need to get this going like ASAP. Like man, Cecil he went through every emotion in like a span of maybe like 5 minutes. He was happy that Mark was whooping ass. Then he got sad that they, the Infinity War of Viltrumites and Marks that came in. Then he was angry at his scientists. Bro was having it rough.
It was rough.
It was rough.
He was having a tough day, a tough couple weeks at this point.
Right.
Caesar, man, and when that part where he said, "What the fuck are you quoting?" What the fuck are you talking about? Is a direct quote. Like he told that scientist, "What the fuck are you talking about right now, man?" So, moving on, Adam Eve decided to get up and get her ass whooped next. However, I'm gonna give props to this. That was one of the best displays we've seen of Adam Eve since that short story episode that she had. Like she was really going at Conquest, and honestly, it was impressive. Like even Conquest was impressed. She was going at his ass. She wasn't just making them damn walls that she makes. She had actual weapons this time, so that was great. And Conquest was taking those hits, and he got up and he said, "You know what? That's pretty good, but you breathing hard. You can't keep this up much longer." Beat her ass. This is after he broke Mark's leg. Beat her ass. Honestly, he did more than beat her ass. He really did. He really did do a Viltrumite special and put his hand through her heart. Mark gets mad again. The thing about this, and if you notice, the escalation of Mark's power over the course of this fight. Mark hit him so hard, and you can see the surprise in Conquest's face when he broke his arm. And Mark had a damn bone sticking out of his hand, but he broke Conquest's arm. And Conquest looked at this shit like it was made of vibranium or some shit. He was like, "Oh, this shit ain't supposed to break." He said something that was a great point. He said, "Just because you get mad, it doesn't mean you get stronger."
Right. Yep.
I like it.
Crucial point. Yep.
He said, just because you mad, it don't mean it's going to change how this goes. And they're fighting, and we get, and I want both of you guys' thoughts on this. We get the best moment in this whole episode. Conquest again decides that he's going to kill Mark. Oh, hold on. Right before that, Mark begging for Cecil to come and help Adam Eve was powerful. Going from the beginning of this season up until this point, he went from not trusting that man at all to begging him to save the love of his life. That was some crucial shit right there. And in that moment, I felt Stevie Young yet again, great voice work. Right. I felt him the way he was big.
Mind you, I know Cecil was listening, but he ain't want that smoke.
Hell no. Cecil didn't show up. He said, "Hell no." Hey, Cecil hit this move when he heard his name when he saw it on the screen. I've been trying to talk to this kid to get him to call me the whole season.
Right, don't call
now
me.
Now is the time to call him. Nah, man, you can do it, Mark. I truly do believe in you. Mark, when Cecil heard his name called, he went downstairs and checked on the Rihanna marks again. He said, "Bro, you got them about ready for your boy." Because I know he don't think I'm just about to go and do my instant transmission to get them out of there. Nah,
right.
I'm still seeing this shit out. But Conquest decides that Mark has been through enough trauma and that he's gonna kill him. This to me is the moment that not only shows a side of respect from Conquest, but it also shows to me that Conquest had seen enough and maybe he was concerned about how strong Mark had become over the course of the fight. Because he went from having fun to something that is completely out of nowhere to me when it comes to this character from what we see to this point. He's choking Mark and he leans down, it gets close, and he says, I'm lonely. And the truth is, nobody talks to me. Everybody is afraid of me. They just send me from planet to planet to take over and just hand over, everything to the Viltrumite Empire. I have no family. I have no friends. The truth is, this is my truth. And Conquest is just spilling his soul out to Mark at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The line that got me when he said Conquest, they didn't even give me a real name, just a purpose.
Hey, that shit was, oh man.
I said, what are we doing here? Now, wait a minute. You just made me hate this. You telling me he a victim? The man told Mark, take it to your grave. Mark said, hell no. Nah. Mark got the fuck up. But before we get into that, Chris, what were your thoughts just in that moment, just hearing Conquest just spill how he truly felt?
That shit was powerful, man. Like you said, when that line about not a name and it's a purpose, man, that shit rung like a school bell at 2:30 on a Friday, man. Like,
it was deep.
It was deep.
That was a deep line.
And like you know that in order to be alive in this Viltrumite empire, you have to be good at what you do. Because season 1, they killed all the weak ones.
Yep.
Yes.
So that in order to be alive now, you have to be one of them ones. But he looks like possibly the oldest one we've seen so far on screen. Him and what's the guy's name? Thetis or something like that. The old guy in space.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's been doing this a long time, bro. And you can just imagine like not having anybody say a word to you, bro. Like you hate him.
Well, here's the thing.
But you feel for him.
On the Thraxan planet, there were other older Viltrumites there. So to your point, he's known so many Viltrumites, older Viltrumites. And you mean to tell me he don't have one friend out of all of them?
One, bro.
And they're all afraid of him, man. Like,
that's the wild part.
Bro, that was crazy. Greg, what were your thoughts in that moment?
Man, you think about it from a standpoint of you feel so alienated and annexed from your community. Like, how bad did he destroy the planets he went to go and take down? Like, you think about all that he's harboring. Like, I did feel like there was a little bit of sarcasm in what he was saying, but sometimes you use sarcasm to heal your wounds. And I feel like that's what he was doing, because the way he was saying it, it was just like, man, I have people that are afraid of me. Like, that they're strong. They're Viltrumites, but they're terrified of me. And just seeing the way he did Mark, you can only imagine if anybody tried him, if anybody made him mad. Like, he just had a bad day. And I just think about like all he's seen, like you said, he's been through with conquering the planets and everything. It makes me think that he kind of does have a soul, but he knew this is the only way I can survive. And he's looked at as a monster now for doing it. But at the same time, y'all made me. And then y'all didn't even give me a decent name.
Great point. The Viltrumite Empire made him. And he feels stuck in what it is the monster, inside the monster that they created. And he doesn't know how else to be except for in his quiet moments when he's alone. And he can feel the way he truly feels. And seeing Mark fight so hard for his family and everything, I truly do believe two things. There was again a sign of respect there. Like this warrior fought so honorably. I'm gonna bestow to him my deepest secret before I kill him. I just need to get that weight off of me. But it also makes me feel like the last surviving member on any planet that he conquers knows his secret.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody who he is killed, he tells him the same secret on the last person, and then it's over.
He killed him. Yep. Wow, bro.
So speeding up where we go from this point, Mark doesn't get up. He is getting ready to kill him. Adam Eve rises from the dead.
Yep.
Does this final Kamehameha on his ass.
Like Jean Grey.
Bruh. She took that boy clothing and skin off. That shit was crazy. Also, Conquest is ripped. But anyway, Conquest still got up, skinless, and was trying to kill Mark. And Mark, having seen Eve just get resurrected, finds that extra bit of strength. Mark is also at this point on one leg and with only one arm. And then I believe he hurts his Conquest has his other hand, or either that or he hurts it. And Mark just decides to headbutt him to death. And that was gruesome.
Yeah.
The fight finally ends. Cecil finally shows up, rescues everybody. Mark is in recovery. Oliver has also recovered for the most part. And then we get a great scene with Robot doing the eulogy for Rick Explode and taking on Rex's name. Cecil Mark asked for proof of life or death with Conquest. Conquest he shows Mark Conquest's body. In reality, he has Conquest trapped in like this 400-ton prison or whatever. And Mark is happy that Adam Eve is still alive. But then we finally get to the end. And we alluded to this at the beginning. Mark is talking to Oliver and he says, you know what? I think you're right. When our family is in jeopardy, we got to kill them. Whoever it is, we have to. It took seeing Conquest. That's what I got from that. It was seeing Conquest and Eve, to your earlier point, Greg, Eve was the breaking point for Mark. He's like, yeah, he's one thing to fuck with my family. You fucking with everybody, man. And my old lady too, and she's superpowered and she couldn't handle this. He thought he lost Eve twice over the span of some weeks because I think some weeks had followed the Invincible War. And up until now, because again, they had rebuilt some things. But yeah, this is it. So going forward, next season, we're not going to see Mark struggle with killing somebody. And I want to see what that looks like. I want to see what he does when he just decides, nah, this is it. This is it for you. I'll go ahead and rate this. We do a scale of 1 through 5. Greg, I know you're not familiar with the grading scale, but whatever your rating is, I'll let you know what it is. For me, Invincible Season 3 is just a step behind the first season. For me, it's an unapologetically legit season, which is a 4 out of 5. Chris, what's your scoring verdict on it?
Man, it was looking like unapologetically alright at first, but then the way these last 2 episodes figured out, man, I gotta go unapologetically legit as well, bro. Like this is a solid 4 out of 5 for me.
Greg, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with legit as well. Like that, the last couple of episodes got me. I definitely enjoyed it. The build up was superior. Like the finale was great. Like I love the character build ups. Like it had it all. Like I think everything that happened in this season was on par, and I think it did leave us like on a cliffhanger. Like what's gonna happen next? Like it's like okay, we got a great fight. It ended the way we wanted. That means the next season finna be like we finna get straight to action. Like, cause Angster coming back. We finna see, the road with the marks that Cecil got. So I think this next season is definitely gonna be like it's got to be power pack. It's got to be power pack. But this one was legit, straight legit.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I'm really looking forward to season 4, but one plot thread or a couple plot threads, those mind controlling squid things have been on Earth. And I remember, like, when I saw him in the sewer, I forgot that dude threw one up in the sink in season 2.
Facts.
So we got that going on, and it looks like several humans have been taken over. Yeah. So he has essentially an army down there.
Yep.
We still have Battle Beast.
Battle Beast, yeah.
Woke up. My boy, he back. He's straight.
More.
Right. He handled his business. The big one is one that does not exist in the comics. The Dark Blood ending, where Dark Blood tells like this other creature, it's time to bring the Dark One forward or back or whatever. Robert Kirkman has came out and he said, I never got a chance to do this in the comics. This is going to be something that's completely different from the show. And it's really cool to have a situation where nobody really knows what to expect. So we're going to get some supernatural shit. And which I think Darkblood is a pretty cool character, just a little bit I've seen from, but he's going to get his own story. Looks like within the next season. So, and then the technicians and Angstrom leave, of course, out there as well. But yeah, it was good stuff, man. Like it was a very, very good season. And with that being said, going from one great season to another,
I'm gonna power up on this.
That was a very, very special show that came out this year. And the internet really took it and really hyped up just how special this show is. And they said, all of them said, when you get to the twist at the first episode, you're going to be locked in. And they did not lie. I jumped on this show when 6 episodes were available to watch. I told my wife, this is what the internet is saying. Let's just check out the first episode, see where it goes. We finished all 6 that day. And was checking to see when the next episode comes out. We finished all 6. I just want to say this, and Greg, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you've been excited about seeing this.
You don't even know.
Dan Fogelman made This Is Us. It also stars Sterling K. Brown. Shout out to Dan Fogelman. Shout out to Sterling K. Brown. And shout out to James Marsden. Their performances, Marsden and Brown, on this show were outstanding. And the core and the feeling and the emotion that these two characters lend this story really carries it to heights that lesser actors never would have got this show to. Dan Fogelman gets a shout out, and also with the team of writers for creating a script that gives these great actors something to chew into and elevates them as well. Because James Marsden, I knew he was a good actor. In this show, he is a great actor. A great actor. And Sterling K. Brown, I can't say enough about him.
Goated.
With that being said, Greg, I'm going to turn it over to you. What were your thoughts? And again, you can talk spoilers. What were your thoughts on Paradise?
I'm going to tell you right now. I have to pat. I got to pat you on the back. Because when you suggested this, I kid you not, I did not believe that this show was going to be as good as it is. I am a very big skeptic when it comes to TV shows I watch. When I tell you the first episode coming into this, I was like, nah, this will be all right. I was drawn off the first 30 minutes. This show in itself is great. I captured a lot from it. You see what happens when you have a billionaire team with a president, billionaire team with a president, might say it again, billionaire teams with a president and tries to play Noah's Ark, build their own ark.
I got one for you. Hold on.
Yeah.
A trust fund kid who is
Hello.
also a billionaire and the president.
And the
Facts.
president. Wow, ain't it? So you see what happens when a billionaire has all this money and decides there's a catastrophe on the way. I want to build my own city. I'm going to run my city and basically be ahead of the president. It was so many turns that woman had. Like when I say she is a chess master, like she had everything plotted and planned. Like from day one to the end, she had everything planned. I literally, man, when it came to there was a scene. Oh man, I wish I could remember the episode. But it was when the shit hit the fan. It was after he put in the sky, they're lying to you. And oh man, I forget his name. I can't think it's Sterling, but I can't think of his name, his character. But he comes up to the therapist after he finds out the therapist has betrayed
Xavier.
Xavier, that's Xavier.
Yeah.
He comes to the therapist, and this is after he finds out that she betrayed him, and it's nighttime. Basically, they shut it down. He's talking to her, and in that moment, as he was talking to her, she's telling him of her plans and everything, and the lights come on, and I was like, "What's done in the dark will come to light," and that's when the shit hit the fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, they have plenty of moments like that where everything just hits at the right time. And it's so many things that happen over the course of this show. Almost makes me wish we broke it down the same way we did in Invincible, just episode by episode. We just talking about
right.
it, but we're coming at the end talking about it. So we're gonna have to do the best we can with what we have. One of the main things is when you get to that initial twist of them just being inside of this city that's under a mountain. That twist is executed so well, and you find out a lot about the characters within that first episode.
Mm-hmm.
What I appreciate about James Marsden's character, and I can't remember the president's oh my god, Cal. What I liked about Cal might be a bit of a jerk. He's definitely a showman. And what's funny is, to me, he was a bit of a racist in some ways, but it was more so that he was just stereotypical. He really did love Xavier. And those hints that he drops in those flashbacks leading up to everything that happened, where he's like, he asked him, he said, you plan on having any more kids? Xavier said, no, we good with our two. And he says, good. Xavier looks at him like, well, sir, is everything all right? And he responds, and Cal responds, no, he says, you're good, you're off for the night. You can go ahead and go home. Stuff like that. So, and that the way they slowly built that mystery up, they give you a piece here in the past, a piece there. All right, let's get you to understand. By the way, Cal dies in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Straight off top.
So now the show becomes a whodunit. Every suspect got an origin story. Right. Every one of them. Chris, help me out. What was his Xavier's best friend name?
Billy. Uncle Billy.
Uncle Billy.
I went from hating Billy.
Hey, facts.
Come on now, somebody.
Hey, talk to him.
Billy's origin story is heartbreaking.
It is, man.
His dad told him to put his dog down. Billy takes the gun, shoots his dad, does his bid in jail, gets into the black ops, and he's so damn good at it that Sinatra, who is the woman on the right of your screen here, Sinatra decide, hey man, maybe this boy need to be a part of the new Secret Service. Like that's how exceptional he was at killing.
Facts.
And the twist that you even get with Billy, that the outside world isn't completely decimated, and he was instructed to kill the 4
I think they were
explorers, the 4 scientists that they sent out to confirm everything on the outside. And he did his duty and killed them. And he lived with that secret, man. He lived with that secret. And when Sinatra had an issue with him, threatened and eventually had his girlfriend kill him. And that brings me to Sinatra. That is a diabolical villain there. That lady is so far ahead on everybody. She knew it was survivors. I'm convinced Sinatra knew it was survivors before she sent Billy out there.
Facts.
She knew they told a lie. She knew they sold everybody inside of that bunker a lie. And she sent Billy out there to cover that lie up and to hold that lie. And in the event that she could not control him anymore, she sent a woman to get that man to want to share his life, and that woman killed him. That's some diabolical shit right there. Chris.
In the coldest way.
In the coldest way. Chris, let me know what your thoughts were, man. I know me and Greg, we got started, but let me know how you felt about this show and any points that you really want to bring up in your characters.
Well, you already took a stab at Billy, man. I was in the same boat, bro. I hated that motherfucker, man. But once we actually got to see where he was and where he came from, he was like, he's in a way searching for that love that he never had. He doesn't know anything besides kill, kill, kill. So that was the coldest part about his girl betraying him and whatever. But man, I ain't gonna lie, I was never really a big fan of shows that do like flashbacks this much because
they're
I'm
hard
like,
to get into. Yeah,
you losing me, bro. Like, just keep the main thing. But like you said, everything had a timing and a place where it just fit in so effortless. And yeah, like y'all said, Sinatra is the greatest puppet master I've ever seen from this side of the spectrum. But I kind of got another feeling about it watching her orchestrate everything, and like Greg said, trying to play God the way she was. I am 100% convinced that even though it wasn't her fault, she feels failure as a mother for losing her son.
Absolutely.
And that is why she tries to control these pieces the way she would have tried to raise her son, almost leading you into the direction. And now this whole bunker in this cave has become her child in a way.
Beautifully stated, my friend. Beautifully stated.
That's what I got
to go along with that point, Sinatra needed something to fill that void that was left by quote unquote failing her son. She was just a wanderer on earth, and honestly, I believe she may have done something to herself had it not been for the other child. I truly do. And the therapist and her therapist.
Facts.
I really believe that. But when she met that professor, and it's funny, only her and Cal were in that room listening to him, and maybe one other person. That man sold what he said so well that honestly, she just was gonna latch on to that. I think she was just willing to. She got fuck you money, and she was just willing to just spend it on something that on a cause that was greater than her pain.
Because he couldn't bring her son back.
But he made so much He made so much sense, and she was like, "All right, yeah, let's just see how it goes. And then it kept escalating, and all of his numbers started checking out, and just
Right.
kept growing, and the issue just kept getting bigger and bigger. The reveal that she and Cal's father conspired to get him in the White House so they could further handle the building of their bunker. The orchestration of this entire situation is impressive. It's impressively written, and within the meta of the show, it's impressively executed.
Mhm.
That conspiracy is so damn deep. It makes you feel like, oh, this got to be some real shit that's going on. I don't know about the way they laid it out there. I like the scene where
Facts.
she brought some of the greatest architects together
Mhm.
and scientists, and was like, hey, what would it take to build a
Right.
new city under a mountain and infrastructure? And the man tells her, and she flies him out there. And he was like, you know, it was impossible. Then he sees all the real estate, and he was like, and she said, go ahead and get started.
Facts.
Boy, that shit sent chills down my spine. But she's so callous and so cold, man.
Mhm.
It just make you, and when you see how she was when her son was alive against
Right.
the end, and then they bring it all home, and her son used to love the horses outside of grocery stores, and now they're at every store. Beautifully developed characters is what Fogelman does.
Right.
This show was so good, I turned This Is Us back on. He does this shit too. It's just more drama than thriller, but he does this shit too. So that brings us, we talked about Cal, we talked about Sinatra. Let's go back to Xavier and his storyline. Badass Secret Service agent. And I really do love this character. I love this character. I love his kids. And his wife was a badass, was a real badass. When they delivered the news about the state of the world and he really couldn't tell his wife and everything, in that moment, it's inaudible what the what's the head commander of the military? I can't remember what their official title is called. But when he's delivering the news to him, and again, you can't hear what he's saying, you see the weight on Sterling K. Brown's face. It's excellent acting. My wife said, look, man, if you ever learn some top secret shit on this scale, tell me. I swear I ain't gonna tell nobody, but tell me. But my wife was saying it in a way of, you shouldn't be carrying that weight on you all the time.
Right.
This man knows what's coming. He has a wife and kids. And he held that secret, and he held it together until his best friend, Cal, died. And although he had resentment for him, and you find out his final words towards him. Oh, well, no, yeah, he tells him, no, I think in the first episode, we do find out his final words. Where he was just like, I hate you.
Right.
Essentially. And I won't have peace. I won't be able to sleep again until he dies. And then the next episode after he's dead, Cal sleep. I mean, Xavier sleeps late, which I thought that was a nice touch. But I thought that character was just so great and had so much depth. And I like his relationship with his wife. And we're getting to the episode that was probably the most talked about episode out of all of these. But I would like your thoughts, Greg, on how you felt about Xavier as a character and how his story was handled as well.
I love the way they showed him as a family man first. Like, he cared more about his family than he did his job, but he did his job so well that you really couldn't distinguish like what was his true love, but he basically put his family first. I love that about him. And it's a great balance he had, because he had his kids, then he had his dad involved, and then you get the backstory on that, and then he has a job, his career. So his whole aura, like, completely provider, father, protector, hands down, they covered it with ease, man. And I love that about how they displayed that with him, man. He phenomenal character, bro. Like, hands down, phenomenal character.
Chris.
Same, man. you know, like Greg said, just being that protector, I feel like that just went hand in hand with being a Secret Service agent. But he, like you said, he just was able to separate um family from work. It all just kind of meshed together for him. And I think one of my favorite scenes from this whole season was the realization that his wife wasn't gonna make it when him and Cal got into that argument outside.
Yeah.
That shit was powerful, bro.
So yeah, so that's about to lead us to the day.
Yeah.
We can't do this entire show proper justice, but we can on those last 2 episodes.
Man.
Facts.
The day, and I'm gonna say this plainly, the day, which is episode 7, is one of the best television episodes I've seen really ever. Like, it holds up against a lot of great episodes, some from Game of Thrones. Even what we just talked about, Invincible, the last episode of that, and I don't really think I harbored on how great that last episode where he fights Conquest is, and some others. The day is such a good episode because you've been teased, or there have been breadcrumbs given to you about the big day, right? Where everything went to shit. And the show takes you through that in real time. They really don't touch on any of the future storylines as much. The story starts off, Xavier has Sinatra at gunpoint, and she tells him the truth about everything. Or tells him what he doesn't know. essentially. And it's a regular day, right? Just like some of the crazy shit we've seen in on the news. And I'll always go back to, I believe, what is the most traumatic thing I've seen as a child was 9/11. 9/11 was a regular day. Went to school. Greg, you and I actually went to the same school at this time. And I remember a kid just comes in and he was like, "Man, y'all ain't heard about that stuff where the planes is flying around the buildings." And he was, he's a kid that's mischievous. Nobody paid much attention to him. Went to my next class and the teacher had it on TV. She's weak. Yeah, and I want to say Greg and we may have been in that same class together.
We was in I saw it in Miss Derrick class. She had it on that old school TV.
Okay, so you were in Miss Derrick class. It's this lady, Caucasian lady, can't remember her name. That's the class I saw it. And as it went on and we kept finding out more information, like everything just changed. So Xavier and his wife have to go to school because their daughter basically checked the bully or whatever. And I thought that was funny. And you see his wife, and his wife is getting ready to go to Atlanta. And what's funny is in a prior episode, Cal told Xavier, "Hey man, maybe your wife shouldn't go to Atlanta."
Time to put your foot down.
And Xavier, caught between his duty of his job and his duty to his family, thought everything was going to be okay and that his wife is going to be able to make it back. Instead of just saying, "Nah, baby, you can't go." That's the only place where I fought Xavier in this whole entire series. Was
there. Facts.
But it lends itself to the guilt that he feels throughout the rest of the series. And as things just escalate and this big ass tsunami comes, the scene that let me know how serious it was the reporter on the rooftop.
Yep, on the rooftop. Man, that was
great scene. He tells him, "Hey man, we on top of this skyscraper, we straight." And that damn shockwave came through, and her ears are bleeding. And then you look up, and the wave is on her. That shit was chilling. That was a chilling moment in that episode. And things just keep getting worse, man. You find out, and of course, with tsunamis, they come in waves. The first one typically ain't even the best shot. Facts. So they're now counting down how much time they have, and they're telling you how many hours are going by. And Xavier looks at Cal, and he was like, "Look, what does my wife have to do?" And Cal tells him, "Look, ask the general or whatever, and he'll give you the location." And then she's supposed to make it there. And look, God, Chris, I know you can speak to this point, and maybe you too, Greg. The location that she had to get through in Marietta, the airbase,
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanted that lady in a catastrophe on a regular day in Atlanta. That tidal wave just gonna hit her ass. That's it.
That was it.
Over with.
But during the catastrophe, she had to figure out how to get to a whole fucking airbase. I love the tension of him having to constantly check his phone. I love the tension when people, the other staff workers who were not going to the bunker, realized what was going on. And when Cal finally was honest, that moment Cal saw that janitor still working,
That's
like
it,
it was
bruh.
just.
That was a
Greg,
tearjerker.
Greg, you can go ahead and take it from there, man. Just really
Look,
take us through that scene.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When that man sat there and he was talking to her, he's like, "Hey, you know, he cleaning it." I know they brought us attention because the president looked over at him. He's like, "Why is this man still cleaning?" When he finally talked to him, he was like, "Oh man, you know, everything will be all right. You know, I'd have been through Katrina, pandemics. You know, I'd have been
9/11.
Yeah, 9/11. I'd have been through all it. You know, tomorrow come and be okay." And you can just see Cal like, there are some people out here that think tomorrow is going to be here and they'll never get a chance to say goodbye.
Right.
And I think instantly, I don't think he was in character. I think that really hit him. I think as an actor, that really hit him when he thought about what he was saying. These people are not going to get a chance to say goodbye. And the general was like, you know, go on, you know, do your thing. We'll be all right. And when he finally said, you know what, we're not airing that trash you're trying to put out. I want to go live and tell these people the truth so they get a chance to say goodbye. And you saw that janitor like, you know, I guess
I'm going. If I'm not mistaken, we see the janitor briefly, and Cal, like, you know, gives him a look. But then later on, you see where he left his cart behind. Like he did go
he got out
to be with his family or whatever. And man, it was just like the way everything played out. And when that part happens, and Xavier got his team ready, he told them go ahead and take out guns out. Because once he says this, and they're going to watch this real time, he was live on television. Once he says this, we probably gonna have to fight our way out. And that tension came back. Xavier trying to check his phone for his wife, but also trying to guard the president. Family versus duty, yet again. And he dropped his phone. Somebody else put a cap in somebody. He did go back and get his phone up, but he left. And it gets us to the scene that you mentioned, Chris. The scene before getting on Air Force One. And Xavier's like, she was never gonna make it on the plane. And Cal looked at him, and it goes into Cal. At first, Cal was all about giving hope to the people. But when he got to the moment where he just wanted to be honest, he was finally honest with Xavier, and he told him, look, man, we in the shit now. You can't hop in the car and go get her. I need you to be the Secret Service agent that you have always been. That was Cal protecting his friend to me.
Right.
And even though Cal didn't give him the real in the first place, he was protecting his friend, and he was like, look, yeah, I probably could have told you this days ago because this pretty much checks out to what we were getting ready to do. But it's not about that. You got kids on that plane that you need to live for. I need you to be my Secret Service agent. Very powerful scene. Very powerful. We get on the plane, and Xavier, well, before Xavier has his last call, they're telling Cal that the other superpowers and nuclear powers see the United States is weak, and they're gonna wipe them out. And they're telling Cal to launch, you know, to use the launch codes and everything. And I like how they had the football in your line of sight for most of the episode, the nuclear football. And he gets there and he says, like, he was like, man, they told me all the secrets. Well, here's the biggest one. An EMP that can stop a nuclear warhead. Cal, this is the best plot twist in this show. Cal is the reason there's a planet left. God damn it. God damn it. He the reason there's a planet left. Everything that you had an issue with, he hadn't fully redeemed himself, but he got a lot of points back to me. He saved the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's ever going to really know that. Why? Because it flies in the face of what Sinatra wants you to think. She wants you to think the planet is gone. She wants you to think that the environment is shit and it's radioactive. If you know that Cal stopped all those warheads, it flies in the face of it.
Yep.
And then, of course, we get the conversation between Xavier and his wife. And he thinks his wife has died. Sinatra reveals that his wife is alive, which is another great closing to this episode. We're going to move on to the finale. Greg, I just want your thoughts on how we finish this thing off. And feel free to even talk about who the killer is, which is a great plot twist.
Man, that was a huge plot twist, bro. Like, because I thought for a fact they had found out who it was. And I mean, they had, like you said,
you thought it was Sinatra, right?
I know. I literally thought when because you know, when the therapist and the agent were in the kitchen, and she was going through the list of people that didn't something when they found out that Cal was killed for somebody that was outside of the, I guess you could say, the internment camp, whatever. I figured they were gonna find somebody that just didn't seem right, and I always looked at that cafe server. Like something about her just didn't seem right. And when she was looking at the list of people and she saw the name, she was like, this name is something's not right. This doesn't make sense. And she noticed it off of the allergies the woman said.
After the allergies, yeah.
But she noticed that she was eating the cashew cheese, the vegan cheese on the fries. So when they pressed her about it, that's when Xavier goes and he finds like the secret bunker with the code that was on the cigarette, and he finds all this stuff.
It all starts coming together.
It starts coming together. And so she goes, just know it's not my fault. He told me to do it. And my mom was like, oh man, who is it? Bro, I bet it's one of these I bet it was Billy, da. And Xavier opens the book, he gets hit in the head by the librarian. And bro, when I tell you my jaw dropped, because I did not expect that man. He had me shook.
Out of everybody.
And then we get his backstory.
His backstory. They wrapped that shit up so good.
Man,
that was good. Something, man, that I'm gonna get some props on. They was showing me that motherfucker the entire show. Never noticed it. Never noticed it.
Never thought about it.
And they gave him a boring ass job so you wouldn't notice it. I didn't know he was 6'5". If I had known he was 6'5", I said that's your killer right there. What do we got a 6'5" librarian for?
But he was so
reach
good
the top shelf.
Right. He was so good at being timid that led you against anything negative against him, because it just seemed like he was there. Hey, Mr. President, no, whatever you need, we'll get for you. He just seemed like he was in place, but it never dawned on me. I get they making a city, but why would you think to bring a librarian? You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay,
that never made sense to me.
So a lot of it was to give people something to do. I did notice that. Like, everybody had their little jobs and stuff, and he gave people something to do. What I like about his background story, Chris, I kick to you with this, is that first of all, you saw him the first time when he was at the press conference or whatever, and he tried to pull the gun because he knew what was going on. Also, he knew that the world was about to go to shit, and Cal knew it. He tried to kill him, Xavier, and he was so inconspicuous that Xavier, who notices everything, did not know that was the same man who shot him.
Right.
That was a point that was lost on me at first. Like, Xavier had moved on with his life, and he was so far removed, and he was paying attention to so much other shit that he didn't notice the man who shot him was working in the library. And it made sense. The man did change his appearance. Give him that. But even that made sense. But to the juxtaposition of that point is that the librarian was in that new civilization for so long. that what Cal did had gone outside of his mind, and he honestly forgot his mission. He didn't care anymore. He was like, society has essentially rebuilt itself, and we've moved on. So maybe I should move on. And he just fell into basically assimilating to what his new life was. And then he got up one day and he was like, "This is unsustainable. I need to finish the job I intended to do in the first place." Chris, how did you feel about where the story took us from there?
Man, I was along for the ride at that point, man. I had my seatbelt on, you know, I had the little Superman roller coaster, you know, arm straps going down, man. I'm in that thing like this, bro.
That wasn't
and it
locked
was,
in.
yeah, I'm locked in, bro. Like, and like you said, he had got so removed from his original mission that, like you said, he pretty much became a cog in the machine. And then, like you said, everything just kind of was going out the window until Cal went to make that mixtape for his son
And he
and
saw him
saw him
again.
in person.
He
And
was
that's what
faced with it.
re-triggered. Yeah, it re-triggered everything that these last couple months he'd been erased from his mind. So once that happened, man, it was like it's up. But like you said,
Yeah.
we really didn't even pay attention to that. Like you said, he cut his hair. You know, his beard was different, all that good jazz. But you know, that speaks to the trauma that he experienced, right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That
Like
man turned into a homicidal killer again. And he said he knew he was gonna get caught. And the days went by that he wasn't caught. And he just stood down and he was like, "All right, let me just enjoy life."
Facts.
And you know he saw Cal at like State of the Union addresses and all that kind of stuff, but it was seeing him. Cal's desire to make a fail safe for if Sinatra killed him is what got him killed. And it wasn't
Facts.
Sinatra that did it. And I thought that I appreciated the great irony. And the villain, and I turned to my wife and I said this. I said, he's getting ready to go out and find other people. And if you let him leave, he's gonna bring people back. And he becomes a greater threat. Xavier didn't go after him to kill him. He ended up killing himself. Or whatever.
Kamikaze.
But I thought that was such a great story. And then we didn't dive into this, but Xavier's all-out assault on Sinatra and Paradise as a whole by exposing everything was very well done also. And he only took his foot off the gas when she told him that his wife was alive. So Xavier comes back and everything is trying to return somewhat to normalcy, but now Cal's son appears to be in position to be a cult leader of sorts or a revolutionist, which I think that's going to be a very interesting storyline. And thank God that this has already been confirmed for season 2. So you don't have to worry about it being canceled, and we're going to get a lot of answers. But we end up with Xavier hopping in a plane to go and get his wife. And they even did a good job of setting up the fact that he wanted to be a pilot, but his eyesight just wasn't. Right. So it makes sense that he would be in a position to go and get his wife in Atlanta or wherever. Well, he's assuming that she's in Atlanta, and I believe she does say it. She says she does. She is going to be making her way to Colorado, but for the time being, on the last mission, she was still
right.
The other part is Sinatra can't speak now because her hitter, who was Billy's old lady, decided, you know what? This lady asked for a Nintendo Wii.
A Wii, bro. A Wii. She asked you for a Nintendo Wii, and you said, when she told that woman, she said, "I think we should end the conversation now." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Sinatra was still on that control shit because Sinatra was coming from a position of, if I give her the Wii, there's no telling where it's going to stop.
Yeah.
I also feel like that woman was saying she won't give me a Wii I know everything that I have all this information on her. I'm next.
Right.
You just beat her to it.
Yeah.
Xavier had that damn gun to Sinatra head. That girl shot her in the throat.
And then played it.
And then went up to her. She said, where I shot you at? What kind of marksman you gotta be to shoot a nigga and take their vocal cords away?
That's some
Like,
gangster
yo.
shit, man. That's
Said,
some
nah,
gangster shit.
she said, you're not gonna die. You're just not gonna be able to speak. Like, and now I'm in control. That is a scary thought that Xavier is not there. And that woman essentially got Sinatra by the balls. Sinatra can't talk, but she can. That shit crazy. And it sets up for a great season too.
Facts.
I think we're ready to render our verdict here. Paradise for me was a nonstop thrill ride. I enjoyed every second of this show. I'm actually intending to binge it again, probably soon. For me, it's a 5 out of 5. It's an unapologetically superb television show, man. It's not much that you could really ask for that they don't give you. Chris, what are your thoughts? What is your verdict for it?
Man, like I said, it took me a little bit longer than y'all. You know, I mean, the twist was cold, but like I said, it was just the flashbacks that was messing me up. But once we got into the meat and potatoes of it all, yeah, I mean, I don't really like binge watching multiple episodes of a show in one day because there are some times where like you got so much going on, you may lose track of what happened sometimes. But when I watched episodes 3 through 8, I was cool, right? So
you remember all this shit.
Yeah. So I gotta go unapologetic superb as well, man. I mean, it was phenomenal. I can't wait to spin the block again, like you said, and then in preparation for season 2, man.
And now you get the convenience of really knowing it. You know what this reminds me of? X-Men 97, where Bastion is present the entire time up until they reveal. And you go back and watch the show and you can see him and you was like, wait a goddamn minute. He was there the whole time. Greg, what were your thoughts on it?
Let me put it like this before I get my rating. If there was any show that would make me get the premium subscription of a streaming service so I can skip the commercials, this did it. If you watch this, please make sure you have a subscription without commercials because you're not going to want to take them pauses. Bro, this was a 5, top-notch 5. Like, literally, I'm about to change my subscription now so I can skip the freaking commercials when season 2 come out. I didn't want to stop watching this.
Look, man, it feel good not having to worry about them dumbass commercials.
Right. And this made me realize that this.
Look, man, I think this is the first 5 out of 5 we've given anything since we've been doing this show. So yeah, man, Paradise is absolutely legitimate. That down. So let's move on to a little bit of news. Everybody still feel good. Got my people with me. We're gonna try to make this. We're gonna try to make this.
Man. It's tough, bro.
I tell you, I was looking forward to the Jonathan Majors comeback tour. He was just in the magazine. It wasn't Variety, was it? It may have been Variety.
I think it was, yep.
And they did a whole cover story on it. And you find out some tragic things about his past, about his upbringing. And man, like Michael B. Jordan has come out and he said he wants him for Creed 4. He also said, I look forward to working with this man. You had other people coming out and they saying all this shit. Megan Good and him are allegedly engaged to each other. King the Conqueror returning talks started to pick up, even though I don't agree with this shit because Kang lost the Ant-Man or a version of him. So getting the fuck out of here. Everything was going his way. And Rolling Stone, and I heard Rolling Stone been after him a long time, ever since the first shit came out. Rolling Stone had a recording in which this man says to his ex-girlfriend, same one that was in the whole situation with him. He says, I aggressed you, which I've never heard anybody use that word in that way.
Never. I had to Google that.
The girl comes back and she says, you choked me and pushed me into a car. And he said, well, I aggressed you. They covers that. Or whatever. He basically said something like he doesn't know why he is that way with her, man. Now, I found out that this tape or evidence of that I'm assuming is this tape was deemed inadmissible at the time, as well as testimony from 2 other ex-girlfriends of his. So Rolling Stone has had this or whatever and strategically dropped it the week that Magazine Dreams comes out. Before I kick this to you, I don't believe anybody need to be putting their hands on anybody. Man, woman, child, cat or dog. Don't care. Keep your fucking hands to yourself. I can't say that I don't believe that he and this lady used to fight each other. And that doesn't make it okay. Again, keep your hands to yourself. But at the same time, if you're going to put this out, you put it out when you have it, right? Rolling Stone, I wonder how long Rolling Stone or anybody else been sitting on this recording in the event that he has a comeback. I really wondered it. Because am I saying that it's wrong that he being exposed for this? Not necessarily. But the timing is definitely fucked up. And it's deliberate. And it's diabolical in nature. I'll kick it to you, Chris. Man, what are your thoughts on this new recording that came out?
It sucks to hear, bro. I mean, I was on the hype train as well, man. He was gonna be another person along with Michael B. Jordan that I was gonna say in about 10, 15 years, we would have to revisit that top 10 black actor list because he would definitely be making a presence on that list. And now it's like, oh, bro, you it like you said, it got swept under the rug. Everybody was like not forgetting, but we were starting to forgive, right? Like, hey, here you go, bro. Here go the keys back, man. You know,
If you looked at what
slick.
he was charged with, he was charged with the 2 lesser. He was convicted of the 2 lesser charges, which essentially was he just did too good of a job stopping her from whooping his ass.
Facts.
He was scot-free. He was clear.
Clear,
He was gone.
bro.
He was on his way to having his career back, and he's such a phenomenal actor. I cannot express this enough. They put Magazine Dreams on the shelf, didn't release it on VOD or anything because they felt like he could come back from this.
Right.
Bruh, they did this shit right at the finish line. Man. The only thing they could have did worse was put this shit out on Thursday knowing that movie come out Friday. That's the only thing they could have did that was worse. Greg, how did you feel about it? And honestly, all 3 of us, we intend to go see Magazine Dream.
And
I believe this weekend.
Yep, and
I very much look forward to the review that we're going to do next week on that. But Greg, how did you feel about these revelation?
I think this is total defamation. And they're in its entirety. I think this is just defamation. The week of his movie dropping that he's in, that he's probably done a killer role in, and you decide to expose something, like you said, from your point, nobody needs to put hands on anybody, but the timing of when you did it, there was no need. There was no need at all. Like, you just chose to further bury this man. And it's almost like they don't want him to succeed. Like, I guess
it's definitely personal.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is, but it's personal.
It's something about the fact that this black man oh man, I hate to get into this, but fuck, we ball.
Go ahead.
This
Go ahead.
almost feels like a modern day Emmett Till situation. That's what it feels like, where he did something to a white woman, and now he has to pay the ultimate price. Let's kill your career completely. Like it's done. It's completely done.
Hold on. I need to have some clarity there. The woman who accused him until did come back and say that she
Right.
lied.
She
She
lied.
did. And she did. But the gist of your point,
Right.
I'm with you on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it looks like it's very personal. Yes, he did something wrong. It's also very personal. Like I'm not about to say the person that's doing this is some righteous person because
Nah.
nobody's come out and said, nah, fuck that. I got this on there. This dude shouldn't be out. It feels like somebody with some power has decided that he no longer is going to have a career.
Mhm.
That recording and what he admits to is hard to come back from. Very hard to come back from. I think Magazine Dreams might be it. Go ahead.
I want to this brought it to a good point with the name of the movie itself. Rolling Stone was gonna have to watch that if they haven't already watched that movie and probably saw how great he was in the movie.
This
and
was his
like,
comeback.
We cannot allow this man to come up with a review, not necessarily a great review, but we can't give any type of positive to this movie. What can we do to pull it out? What can we do to basically pull ourselves from giving a review to this movie? And I hate to say it, and you can't really just rule anything out, but I believe some of that came from that. I don't want to tell this man he did a good job. Let's find something we can stick to him again to keep us from saying that this was a good movie.
Yeah, I believe so. It's a crazy situation. Not even gonna. It is sad, but here's where it's sad. That kind of talent couldn't exercise self control.
Right.
Facts.
He couldn't exercise self control, man. And like he was it. He was next. He was next, and he threw it away. And I know people talk about the interracial aspect and all that kind of stuff. You can whatever, say what you like. But wrong is wrong anyway, man. Wrong is wrong anyway. I will say this. As sad as what I'm about to say is, it's probably the truth. If he hadn't been a black woman, he probably wouldn't be looking at the end of his career because people like to downplay that kind of stuff. They like to downplay that.
Facts.
He would have been all right. It's the fact that it's a white woman that really got him in trouble. That's what really, really, really got him in trouble. But in any event, because I would have been pissed off if it was a black lady. To be honest, I'm like, yeah, man, fuck that dude, man. You know what I'm saying? But he was gonna get in trouble either way. He just would have been in less trouble, and the narrative would have been spent or downplayed a little bit more had it been a black woman, which is also unfortunate. Damn, man. Goddamn. All right, we're gonna get up out of here on this. Mortal Kombat 2 dropped its first stills, and I feel like a trailer is probably not far behind. I wasn't too impressed with the first Mortal Kombat, but I did love Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I'm annoyed that, and these stills come courtesy of Entertainment Weekly. I'm annoyed that the tournament didn't actually start. That was one of my biggest sticking points. The tournament didn't start.
Facts.
The fuck are we doing? But anyways, here's Hiro Sonata reprising his role. If I'm not mistaken, Emmy and Golden Globe Award winning Hiro Sonata. Reprising his role as Scorpion. Shit looks badass as always. It looks like maybe that mask is updated too. So I'm mildly excited after seeing the steals. But I love the look, man. You guys have any thoughts on this?
I do. And I'm going to be petty. When that first one dropped and I saw it, I said, oh, yeah, they coming out with a second one. I made a status on Facebook. And somebody came on that status and said, man, y'all need to stop giving movies sequels. I ain't gonna point no elbow, say no names. I knew they were coming out with a second when I saw that first. I said, this can't be it. This can't be it, man.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Was the other person who said it?
Oh, my bad. I mean,
I said you. Okay, I did feel that way. I did feel that way. I did feel that way, and I still feel like it shouldn't have had a sequel. Yeah, I fucking said it. I still don't feel like it should have had a sequel or whatever, man. And everybody came out there. They went out to see that shit during COVID, and here we are. We got to do this again. And I don't have any faith in this one because they did not start the fucking tournament in the first one, and they're gonna sit up here and name this some Mortal Kombat 2. So I own up to it. Yeah, I said that shit at the time. Chris, move on from this dude, man. Chris, what you think about at least the Scorpions?
Yeah, I'm only rocking with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, bro. That's the only reason why. Like you said, the pacing in the first movie was all over the place. I ain't really got no high hopes for it, just like the first one. I didn't have no high hopes for it, man. So, like you said, Sonata and my boy Joe playing Sub-Zero, man, that's the only reason I'm going, man. It's to support my dogs, man.
So here's the thing. I have a theory that Sub-Zero and Scorpion became so popular that the creators, Ed Boon, and the creators of Mortal Kombat now wish they would have made them to the primary characters. I really do believe that. Like they're featured on all Mortal Kombat merchandise at this point.
Gotcha.
The ninjas are the best part of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, hands down.
Here we go with Carl Urban as Johnny Cage.
Don't know why.
I saw somebody come out and say, well, first of all, he should have been Kano, but that was a missed opportunity. He should have been Kano. I saw somebody come out and say the Miz should have been Johnny Cage.
Logan Paul?
I like the Miz, like Logan Paul. I don't think either of them are the guys. Do you know who should have been Johnny Cage? And we're gonna move on with this. It should have been Glenn Powell.
Hey, look.
I can see that.
That's the homie, man. That's the homie.
Glenn Powell's so goddamn charismatic, and he's so damn good at what he do, and he can do action. Glenn Powell should have been Johnny Cage, and he would have knocked this shit out the park. He got the Johnny Cage look, he got the swagger, all of it. Glenn Powell is who should have been Johnny Cage. With that said, Carl Urban is gonna do a great job. I know he is. I got absolute faith in Benny Butcher, but yeah, I feel like there was a better option. Like I would have threw money at Glenn Powell to do this movie.
Yeah,
thanks.
We got Katana. I like the look. The fans. I'm looking forward to seeing the fatality that they use with her. But yeah, it's a good look, man. I mean, you guys have any thoughts on this?
I'm with it. She look dope. I mean, for lack of better, words, I kind of wish they would have went more like the game. If y'all catch what I'm saying.
All right, we need to move on.
Yeah, I'm just okay. My bad.
Get problematic.
Inside thoughts. My bad.
The last steal is my favorite one, and this one is sold it for me. This is what I'm looking forward to seeing. Shao Kahn,
Mr. Khan.
Shao Kahn look nasty. That mask is nasty work. Dragon eyes. Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna get right and wrong. What I will say is this. I hate that new character that they made for the first one. To me, I thought that he was gonna turn into Scorpion, which I thought would have been a cool plot twist, but their character is useless, right? The new dude who's supposed to be kind of like Liu Kang. I hope he dies. I hope Shao Kahn kills him. What that first movie got right, they got Scorpion and Sub-Zero right.
Yep.
I absolutely believe they're gonna get Shao Kahn right. And the love and affection that they put in that mask alone let you know it's prime time, bitches.
Mhm. Nah, that's some good design to it. Like
That is
real good design.
Fuck some shit up.
excellent design, man. Excellent design.
I hope we get Noob, man. We gotta get Noob Sabat. They gotta have Noob anywhere.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Sub-Zero died in the first
Yeah,
one.
he
Yeah,
died in the first.
he
Yeah.
should. He should be
Gotta
in there.
give it to him.
Yeah, I think this is gonna turn into like a whole franchise. We definitely get Mortal Kombat 3 because I feel like the box office returns for this is gonna be good. Do I agree with it? Hell no. But we ball. Ball up top. All right. It is time. It is time. We are at the end of the line. This was a hell of an episode. Meant to say this at the beginning. I'll say it now towards the end. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. On behalf of my esteemed colleagues, Hoodie C and Quad G, I'm Jarius, Unapologetic Geek. This is the Unapologetic Opinion right here on U-GeekTV. And with all of that said, we are
U-GeekTV.